The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
So as I'm doing research for the show, I happened to see this headline, and it actually, as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, okay, this is actually a good question for you guys listening. Because I'm curious what you think. We have this back and forth again with Iran, the Iranian regime. In the Wall Street Journal editorial board, they have a headline. It says, Iran is winning the Battle of Hormuz. It says, Tehran is using force to gain control over traffic through the strait. So it says the best selling point for President Trump's memorandum of understanding with Iran was at least it opened the Strait of Hormuz. Well, now the regime is trying to nullify those terms by using force against commercial vessels, Gulf states, and U.S. bases. All of this violates the deal and calls into question why Mr. Trump signed it. So I am curious what you think about this. You can weigh in on the Yaffee text line 866-494-9866. I don't know if Iran is winning the Battle of Hormuz like they say here, but I do think it brings up an interesting question. We continue to delay the inevitable, I think. It seems that eventually, and I hope I'm wrong. By the way, I hope I'm wrong about this. But it seems like eventually we're going to have to force the strait open through military action. That those plans that the military, the Pentagon, drew up months ago to do that very thing, we're just going to have to implement it, and it's going to be tough. There probably will be American casualties, but it just seems like we have no other choice other than to just completely leave, I guess. So do you think that? Do you think Iran is winning this battle in terms of the Strait of Hormuz? You can weigh in on the Yaffee text line 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. By the way, you are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Appreciate you listening to the show. We have a lot to get to on the show today. We'll have those Alabama bullet points coming up. At the bottom of the hour, we'll speak with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Daily News and host of Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. In the next hour, of course, it's Monday, so we have that Sunday news shows recap. That's where I recap what happened on those Sunday news talk shows, so you don't have to worry about it. It's my public service to you. I recap it for you on Monday, so you can take Sunday off. You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll get to that later on. One of the big topics was Mamdani, the communist mayor of New York, and some of these other communists basically winning elections in New York City. I do want to talk more about that in a moment, actually, as well. I know President Trump has been bringing it up, so we'll get to that. Later on in the show, we'll get to What's Trending with Walker, and Walker is here producing today. So, Walker, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing better today than I was over the weekend because Saturday I randomly had a very swollen jaw.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
did you punch yourself in your sleep? Yeah, that's why. You just got in a fight with yourself while you're sleeping.
I've never had it happen before, but I went to an urgent care and apparently it was like my pituitary gland was swollen.
Oh.
I don't know what caused it.
Is it better now? I mean, you sound like I would assume it would almost hurt to talk if you had that.
I am better now that at least the swelling has gone down, but they gave me a steroid and an antibiotic.
Okay, good. I'm glad they helped you out. Just stop punching yourself in your sleep. That's all.
I will try my best.
Yeah, how would you be able to? If that were the case, it's like, what do you tell your sleep self to not? How would that work? Interesting. We'll end the show with the Yaffee program rewind. By the way, Walker, do you have the audio ready?
I do.
So I actually do want to get to some cuts here because I keep seeing there's a lot of talk about the Democratic Socialists who have won in New York City and are winning in other places in the country. Now, President Trump, at the Faith and Family event, he came out and he basically said something about, he's calling them communists, which politically is pretty smart. Just go out and say, look, they're communist. And a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, that's not good. But go ahead and play Trump Cut 1 for me.
As you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. They're basically confiscating their property. And the one representative for the landlords who's on the board, I think they have 8 or 9 people on the board, and you had one who was representing one out of like 8. But at least you had somebody. But that person walked off in disgust. They just came out, first time ever, with a ruling, 0 rent increases for landlords, 0 for the next 2 years, despite the fact that energy, supplies, real estate taxes, and just about everything else has gone up. They're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is in big trouble because this isn't stopping with New York.
All right, there you go. So I think he's right, by the way. Trump has this tendency to take something and exaggerate it. I mean, you all know that. He is the great entertainer. He's a salesman. He does that. He'll take something that has truth and exaggerate it. I get it. But for the most part, I think he's right. But I keep seeing, like, friends online or whatever, they'll try to defend democratic capitalism, or democratic socialism, excuse me. And they'll say, well, it's not really communism. It's not really socialism. It's just trying to contain the excesses of capitalism. That's not true socialism. We're not talking Soviet-style socialism. We're talking more about what they do in Europe, like Denmark or something. You know, Bernie Sanders will say that. And in fact, I saw this post from someone. It kind of had an outline of what democratic socialism is. It says, beliefs in simple terms, democracy first, free elections, equal rights, and your voice matters. Another one, people over profit, healthcare, education, housing, and basic needs for all. Economic fairness, close the wealth gap and make the economy work for everyone. Worker power, strong unions, fair wages, and safe workplaces. Sustainable future, protect our planet for today and tomorrow. Justice and equality, equal opportunity and respect for every person. A stronger, and then they put fairer in bold here, America that works for everyone. So when you read something like that, you think, well, that doesn't sound too bad, right? We're not trying to radically transform the system. We're just trying to, have basic fairness for everyone. And it sounds great. And we're just, everyone will have a house now, and everyone will make a great wage and all this stuff. But then you look at just not only the comments. I mean, we could go over some of the radical comments by some of the people who just won, especially when it comes to Islamism or jihad or what's going on in the Middle East, or even trying to blame America for 9/11, all that stuff. But what has Mamdani already done, and which is just, this is just to control the excesses of capitalism. He has talked about government-run grocery stores. He has talked about controlling the means of production. He has talked about wealth taxes, where it's not just a tax on higher earners. It's like a tax on all of your wealth, which is taking away your private property. He has talked about now a rent freeze. He is implementing a rent freeze, which means if you own a building in New York and you want to charge a higher rent, it's your building, you're no longer allowed to do that. And really, a lot of this is just the beginning. What you have to understand is all of these things that I just listed that they want to do, it's done through government coercion in power. The only way you can force a lot of this stuff on our country is for the government to grow and grow and grow, and through coercion and power, take from some, control everything, and then give to others, whatever they deem fit. And usually, as Trump said, it seems great in the beginning, obviously. But, there's something that Rush Limbaugh used to say a lot when he was alive, and I would listen all the time. He would say, "I live in Realville." And I just want to point that out. I think that's a good way to put it. He goes, "I live in Realville." The point is, a lot of this stuff seems great on the surface when you just have the government promising you everything. But when you actually look at the real world, it doesn't work. Now, rent freeze is a great example. It seems great. The idea of, okay, no one's allowed to raise rent prices, so all of the people in apartments in New York City, they're going to benefit. Oh, they don't have to pay more. Wow, that's awesome. Isn't that going to help everyone? But tell me, if you're a business owner, if you're a developer, are you going to want to redo the apartments now? Let's say the apartments are kind of dilapidated. It really needs a lot of investment, a lot of rebuilding. You can't do it. You can't afford it. You literally are unable to do what you need to do. Now, if you're a developer and you want to build some new apartments, nicer apartments, make them more up to code, make them more up to standard, are you going to do that? No, of course not. You've completely destroyed incentive for private business to go into New York City and build better places to live. And so you could say, good, at least the prices won't go up. Yeah, but you're going to live in a very crappy place, and there is no chance it's going to get any better, and you're not going to be able to go anywhere else for any better because, well, they have rent freezes too, and nobody's going to want to invest in anything. So what is the next step in this equation if you have a rent freeze? Because you say, we're just trying to control the excesses of capitalism. We're not talking about the government taking over everything. We just have a rent freeze. See, but eventually that doesn't work. So the next step would be we're just going to have the government create housing. We're just going to have the government build the houses, and then, they don't have to worry about profits, and so we'll make it nice, and the government will do it. So private business failed us, even though it's the government's fault that they failed because of their rent freeze policies, but the private businesses failed, so we'll just have lots of government housing, and they'll think it's a utopia. And, of course, I could tell you about the history of the projects. It was not utopia. See what I mean here? So you can look at the smiley face on top of it, but at the end of the day, the real world still wins. I live in Realville, as Rush used to say, and it's going to be a problem. And it's going to get more and more closer to real socialism and real communism, even though they're saying that's not what they want. It's kind of a warning for you. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll get to the Alabama bullet points coming up next. Todd Stacy will join me at the bottom of the hour as well. You're listening to the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. I am Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Some people don't want to admit it. They don't want to believe I'm their voice of reason. But then eventually they come around. They're like, yeah, I need to hear that voice of reason every day. Well, here I am for you today. All right, let's get to those headlines. Right now, once again, we have the Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Coach Bruce Pearl and Representative Tim Burchett out of Tennessee will join top Republican officials at the ALGOP summer dinner. Now, the Alabama Republican Party will host its annual summer dinner on Friday, July 31st at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel, celebrating America's 250th birthday with a lineup of prominent conservative speakers. Now, the event will feature Alabama's U.S. Senators Tommy Tuberville and Katie Britt, along with Auburn basketball coach Bruce Pearl, U.S. Representative Tim Burchett, U.S. Representative Brandon Gill, Brillen Hollyhan, and Pastor Travis Johnson. Now, Burchett, noted as a rising figure in the party, is reportedly considering a bid for Tennessee's U.S. Senate seat if Senator Marsha Blackburn wins becoming governor. If she wins the race to become governor, she would then appoint someone. And Tim Burchett says, hey, appoint me. Number 3 today, Tommy Tuberville says that Fauci is a crook and Obama is a crook and says all these people broke the law. Let's put them in jail. So this was during an appearance on Steve Bannon's War Room. U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville called for accountability against high-profile Democrats, labeling former Biden health advisor Anthony Fauci, who's also, he's been a health advisor for a long time, not anymore, and former President Barack Obama as crooks who broke the law and should be imprisoned. Now, reacting to revelations from former Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard about Fauci's COVID-19 handling, which Tuberville said caused millions of deaths and involved repeated lies to the public during Senate hearings. He argued Fauci should face state-level prosecution to bypass any potential federal pardon. Tuberville also had some similar criticism to Obama. So there you go. Not too surprising. Number 2 today, Arthur Orr, state senator, swats down any concerns over a lawsuit on the CHOOSE Act, Alabama school choice program. He says, I don't think there's really much to worry about. Now, we talked about this because someone who was stepping down from the Huntsville City School Board is saying she's going to sue the state over the CHOOSE Act. So Arthur Orr responded to this on Dale's show on Friday. He's also the chair of the Senate Finance and Taxation Education Committee. He downplayed concerns about a potential lawsuit from the school board member, Andrea Alvarez, challenging the constitutionality of the CHOOSE Act, or stated that, there are various student smart attorneys have confirmed the Education Savings Account program is constitutional because it operates as a tax credit mechanism before funds reach the Education Trust Fund rather than diverting existing public education dollars. He expressed confidence that there's not much to worry about. And I think he's right. Number 1 today, Alabama's SNAP error rate rises as the state faces a $200 million price tag. So Alabama's SNAP program, the error rate has risen to 9.52%. This is for fiscal year 2025. Now that's up from 8.32% the previous year. This is according to new U.S. Department of Agriculture data. Under the One Big Beautiful Bill, just so you know, the state faces roughly $174 million in new annual costs starting October 2027 to cover 10% of SNAP food benefit expenses, totaling about $1.74 billion in fiscal year 2025 for around 670,000 recipients, including 300,000 children, plus an additional roughly $35 million in administrative costs. So Alabama can avoid or reduce this share by lowering its error rate this year. State officials emphasize that error rates reflect unintentional household reporting issues rather than fraud, and the Alabama Department of Human Resources is working on training policy changes and such like that. So we'll see if the state ends up being on the hook for that. By the way, go to Ware's Pistol and Pawn today. Great place to shop. You know that, but they're located off Madison, off Greenbrier Exit 3, by the big rusty water tower off 565. The best place to shop for guns, the best place to shop for jewelry, the best place to shop for all kinds of things, or to sell or pawn anything of value as well. Go to pistolandpawn.com, find out more, pistolandpawn.com. And when you go, as always, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. Todd Stacy is next here on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Full Send Golf, part of the Full Send podcast.
All right, the Full Send Golf channel. I was like, let's go to the range. Then fell in love with it.
This pod is about to be crazy. I don't even know what's going to happen.
Join the party on the golf course.
You guys know how much I really, really love golf.
All right, Salim, we got 2 putts to break 80 here.
Get it there, right?
You wouldn't want it any other way, brother.
These are the ones we practice.
Go.
Yeah!
Oh, let's go.
Let's go, 80s book. Yeah, even though it's from the Reds.
It's just like a boy's scrap.
Full Send Golf. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We're here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you have joined the show today. Just a reminder, if you miss any of it live, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you subscribe, anywhere you get your podcast. Joining me on the show right now, as he does every Monday at this time, is Todd Stacy. He's with Alabama Daily News. You can read that at aldailynews.com, or he is the host of Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Todd, how are you this morning?
Doing great, Yaffee. How are you?
Doing good. Do want to ask you, I don't know if you saw this. There is a Huntsville City School Board member who's decided not to run for re-election. And one reason she said she doesn't want to run is she wants to sue the state over school choice, saying it might be unconstitutional Alabama school choice program. Now, Arthur Orr, state senator, came along and said he's not really worried about that. They've kind of gone over this before. I mean, I'm guessing there really is no worry or no need to worry from like Kay Ivey or the state when it comes to the constitutionality of our school choice program. But what do you think?
Well, I've not seen that story, so I don't really know the details. But I don't know what the legal argument would be. But I mean, look, school choice has been around for quite some time, and I don't know exactly what part of Alabama school choice options she's talking about. But I've never heard anybody say that school choice is unconstitutional. So I think I would have to agree with Arthur Orr. If there was a constitutional issue, I'm not sure what constitution she's talking about. If she's talking about so I guess I just need to read the story. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of my first reaction. You know, when someone comes out and says, I'm going to sue the state over this, and they're part of a public school board, and she's been very outspoken against school choice from the beginning, it just seems like they're just upset at the program. It's almost more politics than it is the legal argument.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. I mean, we're a litigious society, and people, when they don't like something, like to go to court. And but no, I mean, with all the different laws that have passed, you go back to 2013. I think was when the first that was when the first charter school law got passed. And so I mean that was 23 years ago. I've never heard anybody, it's even in the legislature, people that opposed it say that it was a constitutional issue. I mean, and just think about opponents of school choice, namely the teachers union, AEA, Alabama Education Association. They have vast resources, including legal resources, and it's hard to believe if there was some kind of kink in the armor constitutionally. I think AEA would have figured that out a long time ago and saved themselves the trouble of having to oppose all these measures every year.
Yeah, and we'll move on to a different topic. I just want to tell you real quick what Arthur Orr said. He said, the very astute and smart attorneys have confirmed the Education Savings Account program is constitutional because it operates as a tax credit mechanism before funds reach the ETF, rather than diverting existing public education dollars. So he expressed confidence that there is not much to worry about when it comes to this.
Okay, so they're talking specifically about the Choose Act.
Right.
Okay,
yeah, and I guess
they did set it up that way to where the revenue never even hits the ETF. It goes straight to education savings accounts. That's why it was set up through revenue, the Department of Revenue, rather than like the Department of Education say, because the tax credit goes straight to the family. It never comes to the state. So there's not a revenue distribution issue.
See, I knew you would know the history. I knew you were up to speed on this.
Well, I mean, I didn't read the story. Sorry, I guess I've been unplugged for the weekend.
Yeah, I figured if there was some legitimate, to the lawsuit, you would know. So that just tells me that the lawsuit is just completely not legitimate. It's probably not going to go anywhere. And it seems like school choice is popular in this state right now. More and more parents want to sign up their kids for this program, and there's a reason for that, I think.
Well, yeah, choice is very popular, and it has been for a while. It took us a while to get here. I mean, I was an OG supporter of school choice before it was really getting off the ground, and it took a while, even with the Republican legislature. I mean, we started with charter schools. It took forever to get those going because even though we passed a law, there were just institutional bureaucratic hurdles that were set up in place. I mean, you're talking about going against 100 years of entrenched kind of education establishment, and so it is popular. The Choose Act is also popular. I understand the opponents, especially of Choose Act, because they see it as public dollars just bleeding from the school system. But I think it is a popular law. I think the one important thing that's going to keep it popular is if it actually serves the students that need it. So, like right now, as the law was passed, there's an income threshold, right? I guess it's 200% or 200% of poverty. So, like if a family of four, you got to be making less than your entire household, less than $90,000, say. So that's in place right now. But next year, I mean, they will have the opportunity, the way the law is written, for that income threshold to go away. And so that's where you'll start to see a less popular law. If they take away the income threshold and just make it to where anybody can get the tax credit, and it's not, then it starts becoming less about school choice and about improving student outcomes and just more of a tax refund. And a tax refund is not an education policy. And so I definitely think going down the road, they're going to need to keep that income threshold in place so that the law actually serves students who are in need of getting out of a bad education situation and getting a better outcome. If it starts to become anybody, any income, and you can make $1 million and still get the tax credit, I think it'll be less popular. And there's polling that shows that.
Do you think they should raise the income? I mean, $90,000, it seems like a lot, but I mean, with the cost of private school, if your whole household's only making $90,000 a year, that could be unaffordable for that family. At least pretty close to it.
Right. And I think you could, make an argument for whatever income threshold there is. But the whole point of the argument behind this law was to help those in poverty escape or near it. You're talking 200% or 300% of the poverty level. That's a lot. But to escape those education outcomes, not middle class people escaping outcomes and things like that. So if that's the intent of the law, then some kind of income threshold is going to need to be in there if they want to retain its popularity. If they don't, that's what I'm saying. It's something. If you want to sustain a policy, it needs to remain popular, and so I think having some kind of income threshold included helps the state actually sustain the program. Otherwise, you might see backlash, and that would threaten the long-term stability of the program.
Speaking with Todd Stacy, he is the host of Alabama Public Television's Capitol Journal. If you missed it live on public television, it's on YouTube. And, of course, the podcast is available anywhere you get your podcasts as well. I did want to ask you real quick, did you keep up with the news last week, this kind of split between Tuberville and Katie Britt when it comes to this housing bill? Now, the housing bill passed. Trump was going to sign it. He was trying to use it as a leverage to get the SAVE Act passed. But beyond that, Tuberville still did not like the bill. He thought there was just too much in it that wasn't good. It's kind of interesting. We all agree that housing prices are a problem, but it doesn't seem to be a good agreement on what to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason Senator Britt voted for the bill because she wrote half of it. She had, maybe that's an exaggeration, but she had a lot in there because she chairs that subcommittee. So on that banking committee. So she put a lot of work into that. But I mean, so did the White House. The White House was supportive of this. I don't quibble with Tuberville's opposition. And I know he laid out a couple of reasons why, mainly like funding, like taxpayer money. But yeah, I mean, I think there were only 8 votes against it. So I mean, this is an overwhelmingly popular piece of legislation. But sometimes in Washington, it kind of speaks to Tuberville's mentality a little bit. Sometimes he just doesn't like things, but he's not on this committee. Britt is, and she got a lot written into it. It was the Britt Tuberville thing aside. I mean, you can vote how you want, but the way the White House just fumbled this is incredible. Affordability is one of the biggest issues in this country. With the midterms coming up, Republicans were able to piece together this surefire win. I mean, just a home run, spike the football. Let's mix our sports metaphors. And then the White House comes in and says, no, we're not gonna sign the bill that we've prepared to sign and have the big stage set up and allow Republicans to go back home and campaign on and say, hey, we actually have fixed the big problem with affordability and housing. I'll never understand it. And maybe Republicans can find a way to piece together this victory, because it is a pretty big one. But I've just never seen some kind of self-own. Like, I'll never understand it. So Republicans are privately really upset about this because they see the midterms coming. They see the uphill climb that is, and the president's not making it any easier. And it's going to be an interesting fall.
Well, that's an understatement. It's interesting fall. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Todd Stacy, he is with Alabama Daily News. You can read his stuff at aldailynews.com. Todd, always appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, Yaffee, be good.
All right, there you go. If you want to react to any of that, you can. We have our Yaffee text line as usual, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll have the Sunday news shows recap next here on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
We're back on the Yaffee program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you joined the show. I am Alabama's Truth Czar. This is Huntsville's Disinformation Board. Earlier I asked because I saw a headline from the Wall Street Journal, and it said, Iran is winning the Battle of Hormuz. And I was asking you, and I'm curious what you think, so you can weigh in on the text line. Do you think they are? Do you think they are winning the Battle of Hormuz, or is this a little bit of an exaggeration? Because there was some back and forth, militarily speaking, over, even though there was supposed to be a ceasefire, memorandum of understanding, there was still some fighting. So I'm curious what you think. One texter did say this, said, is Iran really just winning the hearts and minds of the American-hating commie propagandists that some people mistakenly refer to as journalists? So kind of making the point here that they're winning the propaganda war because of our media. It's a good point. It's a good point. All right, it is Monday, so let's do this. We do this every Monday. We have the Sunday News Shows Recap. Recapping what happened, what was talked about on those Sunday news talk shows. Yes, like Meet the Press, Face the Nation, CNN State of the Union, and others, so you don't have to worry about it. I go over it for you on Monday, give you the highlights so you can take Sunday off. My public service to you. You're welcome. So I want to play a couple of cuts here from Raphael Warnock. He is a Democrat senator from Georgia. And it's kind of interesting. I have to give the media some credit here, the propaganda press. They have been putting some of these Democrats on the defensive when it comes to what's going on in New York City, where socialists are winning. Now, maybe it's because the media wants to help them out because they see the problem of socialism taking over the party as well. That could be part of it. But Raphael Warnock was on Meet the Press. So go ahead and play Warnock cut 1 for me, Walker, again.
You know, as I said, we have robust and rambunctious arguments about the direction of our party, but the focus is on the concerns of ordinary people. Look, I don't believe in abolishing the police. You can't have security without police. You don't have a country without borders. But this debate will go on. Black Americans are not a monolith. They will respond as they are hearing candidates center their concerns.
Wait. I thought the argument against redistricting is that Black Americans should be treated like a monolith when it comes to the maps. Now all of a sudden they're not, so they're going to vote differently. Doesn't that go against your point when it comes to some of this redistricting, the gerrymandering? I know that's an aside, but I just had to throw that out there. I was like, wait a minute, then what's your problem with the redistricting if they're not a monolith? He's right, though. They're not. They're not a monolith. But it's interesting. They have to be very defensive about this. He has to say things like, the fact that he even has to say, look, I don't want to abolish police, shows that there's a problem within their party. Go ahead and play cut 2 of Warnock.
I think part of the problem with politics, quite frankly, in our country, is that we've made the politics about the politicians. Which candidate is in, who's out, who's up, who's down, what's going to happen to this politician come November. I'm worried about what's going to happen to ordinary people who can't afford their lives right now. And there's a way in which both parties have not adequately responded to this deepening American crisis. We've seen the concentration of wealth in our country increasingly at the very, very top, especially since Citizens United and the passing of the one big ugly bill, which I call Robin Hood in reverse, socialism for the rich, the largest transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. Mm-hmm. I think young people are seeing that. They are deeply frustrated. And there's a wide range of their responses. But we have to center the people. And come November, the people are going to hold Donald Trump and his henchmen accountable. We're going to put some guardrails on this president by flipping the House and the Senate.
All right, so he tries to turn it back to anti-Trump sentiment. We're going to talk more about this because Mamdani was on ABC this week as well. So we'll talk about that. By the way, the Sunday News Show's recap is brought to you by the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Guys, they are celebrating their 5-year anniversary. This is part of a team that's treated Alabama men for ED and low T for almost 15 years. And something's changed this past year. New options. Care taken to another level. You need to go see what's new at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Only $99 for that testosterone and PSA test, and you get your numbers in about an hour. Give them a call, 256-368-0333. Go to the website, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. That's HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
One Night with Steiny.
One Night with Steiny. Shout out Tulsa and Nelk. This is just about me being myself. Gonna be chaotic. I can't guarantee anything. All I can guarantee is that you're gonna be entertained. How can I join an OVO?
You can keep DMing Drake or keep paying.
By the way, I like OVO.
How do you know that I do that?
I know you DM Drake all the time. I know.
How do you know that?
You paid me $3,000 on Venmo one time to text him for you.
Dude.
One Night with Steiny.
One Night with Steiny, baby. Let's go.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
So I asked in the first hour, and I'm going to ask it again. I'm really curious what you think about this. So you can weigh in on the Yaffee text line. I'll give you the number here. You should know it by heart by now. But okay, I'll give it to you again. 866-494-9866. 866-494-WVNN. This is the headline. The editorial board at the Wall Street Journal, they put it this way. Iran is winning the Battle of Hormuz. They say Tehran is using force to gain control over traffic through the strait. Couple of different. Now, I do think, kind of back up real quick. I don't know if they're winning the battle here, but I do think what is there's a couple of different explanations, because over the weekend, the breaking news was we struck many of Iran's military facilities, radar installations on the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran has also fired at American bases. I mean, we struck back. They fired first. They started firing at ships. One is that Iran could be trying to up the ante here, get leverage before a meeting. But I've also heard that there might be splits within the Iranian regime, within the IRGC. So those trying to get a deal, they're losing control of some. There are rogue elements, rogue agents within the IRGC trying to mess up a deal because they just want to go to war because they're fanatics. And so you have that split. Now, the Iranian regime itself and the government, they don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit of any split, but that could be a possibility here, which if Trump knows that, that's why he still is trying to make a deal, giving them the opportunity to get control. But the fact is, I mean, we still are not having an open strait, and there's a part of me that thinks we're just going to eventually get to a point where we're going to have to open it ourselves militarily. And it's going to be tough. It could result in American casualties. It could take a few weeks. But at some point, that might be what's necessary. And there are plans to do it. The military, they have plans to do this already. They did in the beginning. It's just we really didn't want to have to resort to that. And we're trying our best not to resort to that. So we can talk about that and more. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guest, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. All right, it is Monday, and the 10 o'clock hour. Time for more of the Sunday News Shows recap. Recapping the highlights, the interviews, what I talked about, or what they talked about on those Sunday news talk shows like Meet the Press, ABC This Week, Fox News Sunday, and others, so you don't have to worry about it. I have a friend who watches Gunsmoke. You'd rather watch reruns of Gunsmoke on Sunday. Of course, many of you go to church. That's a good thing. Dale Jackson, who knows what he's up to on a Sunday morning. It's all right. I'll give you the details the next day. My public service to you. You're welcome. You're welcome. What can I say? I'm here for you. All right, so I want to play some of these cuts from Ambassador Mike Waltz. He's the U.S. ambassador to the UN, former national security advisor. He was on Fox News Sunday and was talking about, we've had some more recent skirmishes with Iran. So he was talking about, the latest on this. Play Mike Waltz got one for me.
If the Iranian regime thinks for a second that President Trump is going to stand by, while Iran continues to attack international shipping without a response, or our bases without a response, they're sadly mistaken. And they saw that loud and clear over the last few nights, where we'll continue to militarily, if needed, take down their infrastructure that they're trying to use to illegally control an international waterway. And Shannon, just one more point on that. That's not just the United States. That's the entire international community. A UN record, 143 nations have agreed with us that this is in violation of international law. Even the Chinese government has said you cannot be taking tolls or fees. Iran was apparently relying on Oman across the waterway to help it set up this new infrastructure. And now Oman just yesterday has rejected the idea of tolls or fees. So they're completely isolated here. President Trump's not going to stand for it. And meanwhile, we continue to move ships out by the dozens every day, and world oil prices are not just stable, they're dropping. So Iran's attempt to hold the world hostage and their economies hostage are completely failing.
Now, there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to take time. But one thing Iran doesn't realize here, which is why we have to always be concerned that they're going to try to get a nuke. They want a nuclear weapon to have the ultimate leverage against the world so they can keep their terrorist activities going. And there's always a chance they could use it because they're nuts. But eventually the world they're already getting sick of a lot of this. And they're trying to figure out other ways to get shipping in that area or in the world to bypass a lot of the Strait of Hormuz. And it takes time to get that supply chain working out. But at some point, these countries are just going to say, forget Iran. This is too much problems. We'll figure out another way. Now, that means prices will stay higher than they should for a little bit. But I just don't think they can hold the strait hostage forever. The rest of the world is like, forget this. And it's good that we're getting some of the ships through. But Iran still believes that any disagreement they have, they just start bombing ships and they can get what they want. And that's a troubling precedent here. Also a precedent why they should never have a nuclear weapon. Another example of why we can't trust them and they can never have a nuclear weapon. Go and play cut 2 of Mike Waltz.
The president's patience isn't going to last forever. Discussions are ongoing, particularly at a technical level of how to get inspectors in, the down blending and the other pieces that are focused on ensuring Iran never has a nuclear weapon. But they need to understand their leverage is diminishing by the day. The Gulf Arabs are creating all kinds of alternatives to the Straits of Hormuz. The UAE is moving oil through its pipeline that it's expanding. The Saudi Arabia is moving oil through its pipeline that it's expanding. We will create alternatives to our basing posture there. We will harden some. Some may go underground. Others will move. So this leverage that Iran thinks it has now is diminishing faster and faster, literally every week as we speak. And meanwhile, I got to tell you, Shannon, I think the Iranians may be more scared of Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, than they are Pete Hegseth, our great Secretary of War, because their economy continues to tank. Their foreign currency reserve, their currency writ large. So their leverage is diminishing. Ours is increasing. They would be wise to take a diplomatic solution and back away from this obsession with a nuclear weapon, which, again, the UN itself has said repeatedly over and over again they cannot have.
Which they absolutely cannot have it. Now, part of this might be as well, they know the midterms are coming up. They know Trump doesn't want to do anything really big before the midterms. So it could possibly be they realize it can ramp things up for now, and then right before the midterms, they just make the deal because they know Trump will be kind of free after the midterms to do something here. That could be a possibility as well. I'm open to other possibilities. You can weigh in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. All right, let's get to Mike Waltz, cut 3 for me.
President Trump is a president of peace. He will always give diplomacy a chance. He gave it a chance last year before Operation Midnight Hammer. He gave it a chance this year. Again, before we hit Iran militarily, and he's giving it a chance now. But I would say in response to McCarthy's piece, the regime has never been under this level of pressure, and no president before President Trump so credibly put the military option on the table. So Iran, as Secretary Rubio just said, Iran has a choice to make. It's going to be a responsible nation, or it can continue down this path to absolute ruin. And don't think for a second that President Trump isn't going to leave every option on the table to achieve not just our aim, the entire world's aim, that Iran never has a nuke.
All right, so I'm curious your thoughts on this. The Wall Street Journal says that Iran is winning the battle of Hormuz. Obviously, the Wall Street Journal has been pretty hawkish on this issue, like I have. But as you hear Mike Waltz there, look, Trump's not going to let them get away with any of that. There is still a deal possible. We have more leverage on them than they have on us. So you can tell me what you think. on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. I'm going to tell you what I think real quick about VIP care. Means more time with your doctor. That's right. VIP care. They specialize in primary care for adults 65 and older. So maybe you're in that category, but if not, maybe you have a family member in that category and you see how much they struggle with trying to get a doctor's appointment, trying to feel better. Well, with VIP care, they want them to feel better. Longer appointments. They give patients more time to ask questions, discuss concerns, and focus on their health. It's senior-focused care, and they have same-day appointments available, 24/7 support, and much, much more. Convenient all-in-one care. Many healthcare services are available in one location, including routine checkups, lab work, preventative screenings, chronic condition management, and medication support. This is the future of healthcare in this country, and it's VIP care. And they have locations all over North Alabama. And you can give them a call today and try to get the care you need. Either you need or maybe your family member needs. Go to the website, getvipcare.com. Getvipcare.com. Make an appointment there. And when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. So when we get back, we'll move on from the Iran talk and we'll get back to Mamdani and democratic socialism and how great is it for the future of the Democrat Party. So we'll get to that next here on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. I am Alabama's voice of reason, doing my part to make radio great again. If you miss any of the show live, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcast. All right, let's get to it. The second segment now of the Sunday News Show's recap. That's right. I give you the highlights from those Sunday news talk shows on Monday, so you don't have to worry about it on Sunday. You just take the day off and thank Yaffee. Say, Yaffee, thank you so much for that. All right, I want to play some cuts of Zohran Mamdani. He's having a good couple of weeks. Not only is the mayor of New York City, and what was kind of a surprise election at the time, but he's endorsed several Democratic Socialist candidates in New York, in the state, in the city, and they've done pretty well. You have another Democratic Socialist, Graham Plattner, who's maybe going to be the next senator from Maine. So it's kind of an ascendancy here. So he did a sit-down interview with ABC Jonathan Karl on ABC This Week. Going to play Mamdani cut 1 for me.
Well, I mean, that's great, but what's a party if not its voters? And I'm proud to sit in front of you as the mayor of our city, having received more than 1 million votes, a little less than a year ago. And when we're talking about these incredible congressional candidates, they won their races, and they won their races with a vision of what politics should be, and one that actually speaks to working people. And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But in terms of what it means over these last 7 months, we've seen a city with democratic socialist principles at the heart of it within our administration. And what we've delivered has been record lows when it comes to murders and shootings.
Look, if you want to know what democratic socialism actually means, let me tell you, it's socialism with votes. That's it. He believes in all the usual tenets of socialism. Government control over the economy, more government control over your lives, and more equity, which is just redistribution of wealth on a much more massive scale to make things, quote unquote, fair. The only difference between that and maybe some socialist countries of the past is you still get to vote on your socialist leaders. But he wants government-run grocery stores. He wants government-controlled housing. He wants more of all of those things. So it's still socialism. It's in the name. They try to kind of wave that off. Oh, is that really socialism? Yes. It's just they believe, oh, you get to vote on it too. And they think that's better. But it's still the government. It's still the screwing up of government. And the only way any of this works is taking away private property and private property rights and individual rights. That's where even democratic socialism can be a problem. Going to play cut 2 of Mamdani.
I think democratic socialism at the heart is pragmatic. Because if we cannot deliver for working people, then what is this for? I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or, frankly, in reading one. I'm interested in delivering, and that's exactly what we've been showing.
All right, so I will say this. Mamdani is a very good politician. He knows how to market himself. He knows how to speak to the people. And, you know, he kind of brushes off the more extreme parts of socialism in his rhetoric. No, not all the time. You ask him about Israel, he just goes nuts. And he lets it slip every now and then. But it's sort of the idea. You look at certain struggles in New York City, and he says, look, I'm just going to fix it for you. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you stuff. Now, forget, I mentioned before, a lot of the problems that he's trying to fix were caused by socialism in the past, were caused by big government in the past. It's more of what caused the problem initially. But to the average voter who isn't, deep into economics or political history or whatever, they just want to be able to pay the bills, something like this can be appealing. Even Trump admitted that. Go ahead and play Mamdani Cut 3.
I mean, is there room in the party for both of these views?
Yes, here I am. Here are so many more. And I think what makes our party a beautiful party is the fact that it's a big tent, that we have
But you've also said it has to be a party with a spine, with a backbone.
Yes,
so
even a tent has to stay up.
Yes, so, does it have to stand firmly for these ideas that you're talking about that others are calling dangerous?
I think it has to stand for working people. And I think it has to be willing to fight for working people. And I think that there are some who are offended by the prospect of a party that knows who it fights for and goes every day to work for that. Because what we've seen over many years is a willingness to not only explain away the status quo, but frankly even to look to benefit from the status quo. And that's not what working people are looking for from our party.
Now, I would admit, see, this is the other problem. The status quo of the Democrat Party was kind of dipping the toe into socialism. But it wasn't full on. And they thought that's what they could do. We're capitalists, but we're just going to dip the toe a little bit in some socialism. And when you do that, and it doesn't work because it just never works, you get people who say, well, the problem is we should just jump in. You wanted to dip your toe into socialism, but we just want to jump in, take a full dive, cannonball into socialism. And so that's kind of how you get to this point. In some ways, it's very predictable, but there you go. Going to play Mamdani Cut 4.
Yeah, she said some very controversial things, including calling for the abolition of prisons, couldn't say whether or not somebody who had committed murder should be in prison, called for open borders against all deportations, including those of violent criminals. Are those positions that the Democratic Party could win on nationally?
I think what the Democratic Party can win on nationally is a focus on working people. And I think that what I saw from Daria Lisa when I would walk the streets of her district was a focus on what she describes as a politics of life. She would talk about how we have to invest in babies, not bombs. She's now going to represent what is one of the poorest districts in the United States of America. And what people in that district are exhausted by is a politics that has justified the spending of tens of billions of dollars in killing civilians overseas while working people are struggling just to do the basics.
So, by the way, this is always the ultimate straw man. And there are some on the right that do this. Marjorie Taylor Greene was one. This idea that people are poor because we're fighting Iran, it's always been absurd. You look at our federal budget, you look at the actual numbers, we spend way more on social programs, on entitlement programs, than we do on, say, a war in Iran or even some of the wars in the Middle East. This idea that, well, we just need to stop the wars so we can get billions of dollars and dump that into the economy through government programs and then we'll fix problems. It's been tried. This isn't new. They just want to ramp it up even more, which is kind of the problem. All right. Going to move on to what's trending. Coming up next, the Yaffee program rewind at the end of the show. You are listening to the Yaffee program. Back in just a sec.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
This isn't your average podcast.
You like party?
This is Full Send. Join the party.
So you guys launched the Nelk Love Island. Congrats, boys. It was good. Like a production, dude.
Like 5 years ago, we could do that easily, and it'd be crazy when we're partying, but when you're like in your 30s a little bit.
Well, that's why you barely show up to set, day 2.
Just a few hours tardy.
Steiny wanted to be the host of the show, too. It's like, why didn't you let me be the host? It's like, bro, you showed up 6 hours late every day.
I had a girlfriend.
The Full Send Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're back on the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. Got to remind you, if you need a voice of reason on your social media page, which of course you do, we're talking social media, you can like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. Yes, it's spelled Yaffee. Speaking of things going on, whether it's social media or other places, Walker is here. So we have What's Trending with Walker.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market. If you didn't go this past weekend, there's still time to check their amazing America 250 sale. That's right. If you spend $1,776 at Coleman Furniture Market, you get $250 off. Now, it can't be combined with other offers. It's a great deal. Go to Coleman Furniture Market today and buy some new furniture. I really need to go because I need some more furniture as well, as my family is growing. And why would I go anywhere else when Coleman Furniture Market exists? It's the best furniture store in the universe. Go to ColemanFurnitureMarket.com or like their Facebook page. Follow them on Instagram. See the latest inventory when you can. Coleman Furniture Market. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Walker, what's number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Dunkin' is celebrating America's 250th anniversary, not only with a 4th of July menu, they also have an collectible Eagle Cup for...
Yeah, you just sent me a picture. I like it.
Yeah, I think it looks neat, and it's only $10.99, and... Unfortunately, there are people already listing it on eBay for $60.
I mean, it's not that good. I mean, it's good for $10.99. I wouldn't mind having one. I like a nice collectible, but, you know, come on. It's still a Dunkin' Donuts.
I hate people who take these things that are supposed to be fun for, just let people enjoy it. Don't always have to make it about making money off of it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm sure there's still plenty. You can still get some at your Dunkin' Donuts, but I like it. It's cool.
Yeah,
patriotic.
And some of the menu items they have are Starlight Lemonade, a Freeze Pop Limeade, Cherrylicious Daydream Refresher. That one I actually tried a few days ago, and
oh yeah,
it really reminded me of something. Well, no, I liked it, but I couldn't finish it because it was so sweet.
I had wondered about that. Sometimes those drinks, yeah, they're even too sweet for me,
They even have a Strawberry Sparkler Cloud Latte and a Dazzleberry Coolata. I
haven't had one in a while, but I like a Coolata.
Yeah,
now and then.
This one is a blue raspberry Coolata with marshmallow cloud foam and whipped cream and patriotic sprinkles.
Okay, that's it. Dunkin' Donuts being patriotic. I like it. America 250. And next time I go, I might get one of those Eagle ones. Why not? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I could put it up on a shelf.
Of course, anytime I go to any place like that, now I have to get Evie a pup cup if she's with us. You know what a pup cup is?
Yes, I know what a pup cup is.
I mean, obviously, we don't give her the dog treat if they have one, but it's just a cup of whipped cream. So now she asks every time. Doesn't matter. Anytime.
It makes sense to me.
Oh, yeah, of course it does.
Little sweet treat.
Yeah. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4, Supergirl did not do well in the movie theaters and was no match for Toy Story 5. Because
and this was its second week, I think, for Toy Story 5. So opening for Supergirl, but Toy Story 5 had already been out for a week.
Right. The Toy Story 5 debuted making $70 million in ticket sales, and Supergirl has only made $38 million in its opening.
Yeah, that's not good for a big budget movie like that. I mean, they really pushed it hard. They thought it was going to be this grand superhero movie. But from what I understand, I watched some of the reviews of it. It was not written well. It's kind of played out. Like some of the themes in it have been done over and over again.
Right.
And so it just didn't do well.
Yeah, it only got a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And a B- cinema score.
Which is a lot because, I mean, you look at the politics of this. There are a lot of those reviewers who want it to succeed because, it's girl power, all that stuff.
Right.
And even they were like, yeah, it's just not that good. It was just still not that good. So I mean, that says something. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3, Budweiser is wanting to buy everyone a beer for America's 250th. The tab that they have that you can scan a QR code, of course, to be a part of, will go up to $150,000. So if you sign up for it, you can get a $6 digital gift card. Or you can actually just visit the website. Don't have to scan the QR code, even though that's
Still
definitely
online,
the
though.
focus. Yes. You can visit usbudweiser.com/AmericaTab. And as long as the tab's still going, you can get some money to buy yourself a beer.
Okay. So it's like if you win a certain tab, I'm guessing. Not everyone gets money.
Well,
I'm kinda
everyone that signs up before the $150,000 tab runs out.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. So I'd be curious to see how fast that happens.
Yeah, I'm curious too. It says that the campaign is meant to thank hardworking people and celebrate the country's resilience.
So when does it start? Is it already started?
It began today.
Okay. Is it already run out? I almost feel like maybe it probably would have already run out. I mean, you think about $150,000. It's not a lot in a country of 350 million people.
Right.
So I
guess
don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we'll have to check during the break.
Yeah, although, I mean, it's early in the day. So maybe
Right.
later in the day. Interesting. Okay, I'm sure that's going to run out pretty fast, which is good marketing. I get it. What's number 2?
Number 2, Alan Jackson had his triumphant final concert because of a degenerative nerve condition that he's
That's
gotten.
sad.
Yeah, it's called Charcot-Marie Tooth disease.
Never heard of that.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound fun.
I had also never heard of it, but it affects his ability to walk and perform.
Oh, man.
And for his last show, that was Saturday night, $1 for every ticket sold went to a research foundation for that disease.
Wow. That's a good cause. I'm glad they did that. I feel bad for him. Jeez.
Yeah, I feel bad for him too. The first 2 hours of the concert was a marathon of a bunch of country music stars performing songs by Alan Jackson.
That's cool.
Yeah, anyone from Carrie Underwood, Thomas Rhett, Luke Bryan, Little Big Town.
Wow, who was ever at that show too? They saw quite a show then.
Yeah, I even though I don't listen to country music very much, I feel like I definitely missed out on something with this.
Not only that, but I don't listen to country, but I know those people. I mean, I know who you're talking about. I know Carrie Underwood and the other artists there.
Right.
So it's a big deal. That's a big deal. All right. So what's number 1?
Number 1, a judge has ruled that the Dan Sullivan, that started running against the U.S. Senator
I
Dan
think,
Sullivan.
didn't we talk about this on What's Trending before, where it's two people with the same name running against each other?
And it's gone through the court. At first, a decision by the Division of Elections Director Carol Beecher disqualified him from being on the ballot, saying that it was just like a ruse to confuse voters and stuff like that.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
But
I don't know how you disqualify someone based on their actual name, though, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the goal.
Yeah, and then Superior Court Judge Thomas Matthews has overturned that ruling as of Friday, saying that...
Probably what I just said. I mean, you can't disqualify someone if it's their actual name.
Right. And they're saying that he has, like, every right to be able to run because it's only based off of age and residency and citizenship, that they lack the legal authority to actually make him go off of the ballot.
To me, the solution here really is just put incumbent next to the one who's the incumbent.
Right. That's what I would think.
Maybe they are doing that. I don't know. But that, to me, if you're going to deal with someone with two names and they're trying to get them off, you just put incumbent next to the one, and that can differentiate a little bit.
Yeah, and the new Dan Sullivan has said that he's actually considered running for some time, and that, of course, this whole process has been very frustrating for him. He is a retired teacher and former U.S. Forest Service employee.
Yeah, because this is in Alaska, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. It makes sense that he would be there. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a way. Like I said, the one judge makes an interesting point. It could be like a ruse to confuse voters. They talk this person into running to do that. But one, how would you prove that? And two, it's still his name.
Exactly.
You can't say you can't run by using your actual name. I mean, I don't know how you would enforce that.
Exactly. And I'm really curious to see where the votes are going to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone is. Yeah, that it doesn't really work in confusing people. And how are they going to differentiate on the ballot itself? I would think it's gotten enough attention where people would know the difference by now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the ballots are supposed to be printed soon.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I appreciate an update. I wonder if that will go to any other courts or if this is final or anything like that. But I think, to me, it's how do you tell someone they can't run when they've done everything legally and that is their legal name? I mean, how do you just say, no, sorry, nobody with this name can run now?
Yeah, I guess they're going to have to come up with some new rules for just in case.
Yeah, and someone just texted in and said, try middle initial. There are different ways to do that, I would think. All right, Walker, appreciate it. We'll have the Yaffee program rewind here in just a moment on WVNN.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. Yes, I am Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. And if I ever ran for office, I seriously doubt that I would run into that same issue. What was it, Dan Sullivan in Alaska? Was that his name, or Dave Sullivan?
Dan Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan? Yeah, if I run, it says Michael Yaffee. What are the chances that another Michael Yaffee would run against me?
Very small.
It's zero. Let's be honest here. It's zero. And yes, Yaffee is my last name. So I would never have that problem. I just have to say. All right, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program rewind. Yes, that time of the show where I remind you if you missed any of it live, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcast. And this segment of the program is brought to you by Jay's Appliance Outlet. Go to Jay's Appliance Outlet today. Over there, off 72 in Athens, you'll see the sign out there. It says up to 60% off new appliances. And they mean it because you're going to get a great deal at Jay's Appliance Outlet. New refrigerators. And yes, I mean new washers or dryers, new dishwashers, none of that. You should be doing, don't wash dishes by hand. It is 2026. Get a new dishwasher. By the way, if you want an even better deal, they have scratch and dent deals as well. New inventory coming in all the time. They really want to sell these appliances to you, and they service what they sell. That means the appliances are going to keep working a long, long time. So go to Jay's Appliance Outlet. Find out more on the website, jaysapplianceoutlet.com, or give them a call. You can call them right now. Dial pound 250. Say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet. Pound 250, Jay's Appliance Outlet. Make your home that much better. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, couple of things we started the show with today. First, Iran. The Wall Street Journal, the editorial board, has a headline. It says, Iran is winning the Battle of Hormuz. So my question is, are they? Do you think they are? I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration to say winning, but they still believe they can constantly attack ships on the strait whenever they just want something. And that is a bad precedent. So we talked about that. We also talked about democratic socialism, because some are trying to define it as something other than what it really is. It is still socialism. Now, President Trump spoke at a faith and family event recently, and he was talking about what he called communists winning these elections in places like New York. Going to play Trump Cut 1.
As you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. They're basically confiscating their property. And the one representative for the landlords who's on the board, I think they have 8 or 9 people on the board, and you had one who was representing one out of like 8. But at least you had somebody. But that person walked off in disgust. They just came out, first time ever, with a ruling, 0 rent increases for landlords, 0 for the next 2 years, despite the fact that energy, supplies, real estate taxes, and just about everything else has gone up. They're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is in big trouble because this isn't stopping with New York.
All right, there you go. So did want to remind you, if you missed that segment, the podcast is up. Also remind you, what is Democrat socialism? It is still socialism, just with votes. But it still means more government control over your lives. It still means no private property rights. It still means collective rights over individual rights. The Democrat Party has dipped its toe into socialism for years. And of course, it didn't work. So now young Democrats just want to cannonball right into full socialism. It will still end in disaster. So we talked about that. We had the Alabama bullet points as well, including some tough comments from Tuberville. I had the details on the bullet points. We had the Sunday News Show's recap, where, yes, Mamdani came up, democratic socialism came up, and Iran came up. If you missed any of it, the podcast is up. We had What's Trending as well. Thanks to Walker for producing today. By the way, thanks to you for listening. The Vince Show is coming up next, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program. Square up.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Andre Berto, 2-time world champion. You know, I fought. I loved it. I really wanted to do that sit down from a fighter's perspective. My G. What's going on? Caleb Platts. What's going on, my boy? Now you got a chance to really draw in your audience, to let them see who you are.
I've had to have a lot of internal talks to say, do I even want to carry on?
As fighters, we know what time it is. Like I think the time is now.
Square up.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Let's go.